Hi there folks, welcome to Sketch of the Day. Today we're going to be taking a look at this shape right here. And as you can see, it is introducing sort of a new challenge, which is an angled surface. So far all we've dealt with is rectilinear forms, things that are generally just made up of rectangles, but now we have this sort of sloped surface in here, and I'll show you how we can negotiate that. First, just a little bit of background information. The types of drawings that we have been practicing have a name. We've been making what are called pictorial drawings. These are drawings of an object that sort of makes it look like a picture. And doing freehand sketches the way we are, they're not super precise, but if we wanted to be super precise, we could be making these as a type of drawing called an isometric drawing. And in an isometric drawing, what basically happens is when we draw our angled lines back in the width direction or in the depth direction, we use a very exact angle for that. We use a 30-degree angle. So this is a 30-degree drawing triangle used for making isometric drawings. And if you have a good horizontal line on your page, you can put the bottom of the triangle on that line and use the 30-degree angle of the triangle to get the perfect isometric angle for your depth lines, and you can do that all the way across the entire page for every line that goes in the depth direction. And if you turn the triangle over, you can get 30 degrees in the opposite direction for all of the width lines, and you can even use the 90-degree edge on the triangle to get your vertical height lines. So we could construct the shapes that we've been doing in isometric if we wanted to do it that way. But the focus of these exercises is to learn how to sketch with some quickness. And for that, I'm not going to be relying on my drawing tools. I want to be building the skills to do the sketches by hand. So for today's sketch, I'm going to continue with some of the lines that I've already started here. And I'm going to begin with just a box, just a very lightly drawn construction line box. It's very sketch quality and it's very light. The key word being that it is light, because some of these lines are going to get erased. Some of these lines are not part of my object. This is what I call a boundary box, and a boundary box is a useful tool when you're constructing a shape that has some challenging features to it, like angles or curves, holes, things like that. So the boundary box is sort of a way to make sure that our size, proportions, angles are looking good before we get into the detail. So now I can start to choose edges that are definitely part of my finished object, and I can darken those edges up. So that bottom depth line and the bottom width line are both going to be staying, so I can darken those up a little bit. This height line at the back edge is going to be staying, so I'm going to darken that one up. Now, these other height lines are not going to go all the way to the top. They're going to go up about that high, same height on both sides, and then they stop. And then I have another width line connecting the tops of them. So using the same angle that I used down below, I'm going to fill in that width line right there. Now back up to this top edge, that's sort of the next place that I need to draw from. The back edge can be filled in. That runs all the way across, just like it does in my construction line box. So I can just darken that up. And then we've got to come forward from these 2 points. But again, I don't want to darken up the entire line. I just want to darken up the portion that I'll be keeping, which is out about that far. Now from the ends of these 2 points, I can fill in my width line running at that same angle as I have been for all of my width lines. And what I've basically gotten it down to is to where all I have left on my entire sketch is just those angled lines. And I have the point where they start and end. So instead of trying to draw these earlier and sort of guessing at what angle to draw them and guessing at where they should start and end, now I have a pretty darn accurate start and end point, and I can fill those angled lines in by just connecting the dots. And I'm making these darker because these are actually part of my object edges. But now I've got some construction lines here that are not part of my sketch, and I want to erase those. So that's what erasers are for. I'm gonna flip that thing around there and get rid of these construction lines. And any place that I have some fuzzy looking lines and edges, extra stuff that doesn't belong, I'm gonna go along now and I'm gonna clean that up. And there we have it. Sign it, date it, and sketch of the day is all done.